going to be talking about Wigglytuff, which is the evolved form of Jigglypuff, as you probably know. And speaking of Jigglypuff, watch that video first, because a lot of what I'm going to be going over in this video is stuff I went over in the Jigglypuff video, and stuff that I went over in the Jigglypuff video, I'll probably just mention that their stats have increased, or, something similar to that, and not really fully go over them if they were in the Jigglypuff video, so you should probably go back and watch that one first. It's CR9 now, as it's still its highest stat is Constitution and then Charisma. Charisma's slightly higher because, in my opinion, and of course all my stat blocks are by my opinion, Wigglytuff is cuter than Jigglypuff. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but at least to me, it's like Jigglypuff is cute, but Wigglytuff is the type of Pokemon where it's like, I would want to have it around at all times. The Pokédex literally talks about how if you touch its fur, you can't stop, petting it because it's so soft and calming. Like, come on. Tell me that you wouldn't want to hug that thing to give it a cuddle. So yeah, Medicine has proficiency now in because, well, the Pokédex first of all talks about being very caring, but it's mostly because it learns Heal Pulse, and they're also one of Nurse Joy's Pokemon, so makes sense, right? It'll be weird if these Pokemon we're getting assigned to what are basically vets and just being like, oh, why are they there? Are they better than other Pokemon at doing things? No. So, it makes sense to me. Some additions is it's now resistant to cold. This is because the Pokédex talks about how, again, we're talking about a lot about how fluffy this thing is, about how its thick fur protects it from the elements. It can't be blinded, because the Pokédex again talks about how it's got a thick layer of tears around its eyes which prevent its dust from getting in there, so I thought I'd represent that by having it being immune to being blinded. With its abilities, a lot of these are the same as last time. Charming, Cute Charm, Competitive. Then we had two more abilities. Frisk and Cuddly Fluff. Cuddly Fluff I'm gonna go over first, because to understand Frisk, we need to talk about one of its new moves. Cuddly Fluff, oddly enough, is not an ability in the game, but this is to represent that whole, if you touch it, even by accident, you can't stop petting it thing that the Pokédex says. Instead, I just kind of lean into the whole putting people to sleep thing. So if Wigglytuff successfully lulls the target to sleep, she can hug the target if it's within 5 feet of them as a bonus action to increase the time that they're asleep for by an hour. Which, pretty good. Keep people asleep for longer. Obviously, they still wake up if their damage roll shaken, but still. Then Frisk only applies when she uses Sleepy Cuddle, which we're going to go into now. Sleepy Cuddle is not a move. It's not in the Pokemon games. I made it up for the sake of making Frisk work. Sleepy Cuddle. Wigglytuff cuddles the target within 5 feet of her while shushing the target to sleep. As Wigglytuff's fluffy body envelops the target and Wigglytuff's soothing voice shushes the target. The target must succeed a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw or be lulled to sleep for 1 hour in Wigglytuff's arms. The sleeper will awaken upon being hit or shaken awake. This is much more it has a higher DC than Lullaby, because genuinely, it's known for its lullabies. If this thing did that to you, you would fall asleep within seconds. I just think you would, and so, which is why Frisk happens. So while Wigglytuff is using Sleepy Cuddle on the target, on the turn but it's used, she can do a sleight of hand check with advantage against the target's passive perception plus their proficiency bonus. If Wigglytuff succeeds, she succeeds the item. If she steals the item and can use it until it is stolen back, Wigglytuff willingly gives it back, or Wigglytuff is defeated. So it's kind of like it puts you to sleep by shushing you and cuddling you and all that. And while it's, distracting you by shushing and cuddling you, it kind of steals from you, which I thought it was interesting. Lullaby is the same, just increased numbers. Inflate, it was originally a bonus action that she could do, but now instead it's an action, because I'll explain this. Wigglytuff inflates herself like a balloon. Her size increases to large, and she gains a fly speed of 4 feet. In this form, I'm sorry, I was so confused now. I'm gonna restart reading Inflate. She inflates herself like a balloon because it's called the balloon Pokemon, and in the anime, it's straight up shown to do this and be able to fly. And the games talk about it too. Her size increases to large, and she gains a flying speed. How big is large again? I know medium is 5 feet by 5 feet. Is it 10 feet by 10 feet? That's quite large, actually. That's really big. I've just realized that. And her AC increases by 2 for a minute. This requires concentration. If that makes sense to me. As if they're concentrating on a spell. So you might notice how, for Jigglypuff, she could just kind of inflate as a bonus action. That would just give her more AC, and she could just fly whenever she wants. My basic idea for this was, basically for Jigglypuff is smaller than Wigglytuff, so she can inflate herself much quicker. Which makes sense, of course, which is why she can fly and why she can do this bonus action. Instead, the Pokédex talks about her lungs getting stronger, so like singing for longer and having more chance of putting people to sleep. And also, I imagine also, because Wigglytuff is bigger than last time, and therefore needs stronger lungs to inflate herself. But she's still a lot bigger, and I feel like inflating herself would take longer to do, so it's as an action instead. That's why she can't just fly normally. But instead she gets, more benefits like fly speed and bigger size, which I guess could maybe be useful, maybe not, I don't know. An AC increase for 1 minute instead of just being, And then finally we have Slap. Slap also isn't a move. Double Slap is. Which is where this came from. Feels kind of weird. I think this was one of the first stat blocks I ever made, and I made this before I made Jigglypuff, and I believe that initially I didn't look at the Pokédex before making this, and it was even more biased towards charisma and special attack, and I completely forgot that the whole thing is high hit points. There could be one video one day where we go over some of my past stat blocks, and we just kind of talk shit about them. Which, if you guys want to see that, tell me. That's the end of this video, though.